evening and welcome to DJNTV tonight. Tonight we're going to jump and look at the top 200 most requested songs for weddings from 2020. Now this is a list from DJ Event Planner and that link for that list is down below. And if you want to follow along, you can do it there. We're going to actually have the list right here in just a moment. But tonight's show is going to look at that list of songs and how some of those songs would be used. As an experienced DJ, you're going to look at that and some of these songs are things you would play here or there or play it with this. Maybe you would only play. We're going to look at some of the songs. We're not going to hit all 200, but we're going to try to go through and kind of bounce through as many as we can here in the next 45 minutes tonight. So if you're watching this and you'd like to jump in and be part of the conversation, you can go to djntv.com/chill and come on in. I see Sean has jumped in. Thank you, Sean, for joining us. And you'll be on. Yes, you are on live with us here. And Robin's with us in the background, and we're going to kind of have those conversations about some of the songs and such. And by the way, the chill room that we're in tonight and doing this show from, this is where Howie does the Hanging Out with Howie on Monday nights, which is at 10 o'clock Eastern on Monday, where he will come through and do about a 20-minute recording. He invites the guests in, they do their little show, and then after that, everyone kind of hangs out and talks shop just a little bit. So with no further ado, let's jump into the list. And again, the link down below, you can see it, the URL up in the top of the window there. This is from DJ Event Planner. They basically go through and take all that information from everyone who's been making wedding requests during that calendar year, and they compile it into the most requested songs. So let's see. I think we are good. We are good. Okay, so we're going to start off at the top of the list. There's multiple versions of the list. This is the top 200 for the year, and then they break it down into first dance songs and all these different things. So if you're looking for a resource for someone who's like, hey, I need a list of songs that it looks something to look for, what can I use for father-daughter? They have it on djeventplanner.com and in the most requested area. So let's start out with the first one. Robin and Sean, if you guys want to be part of the conversation, turn your mics on and you can definitely be part of that because we're just going to kind of buzz through and kind of get some ideas and thoughts on the music. So first one we've got at the top is I Want to Dance with Somebody from Whitney Houston. This is a song that came out, oh goodness gracious, this would have been in the mid to late 80s, probably late 80s, I believe, somewhere in that ballpark. The song has had a resurgence in the last few years, but this is one that I have not had a ton of luck for the whole song. It's a kind of a long song, depending upon the version you have. Mine, I think, is almost 5 minutes long. So this is probably one of those songs that can be an early night song and get your dance floor kind of going. You need to kind of, set it up just a tiny bit, whether you do this vocally or you do this with a song ahead of it. But it's one of those songs that you might find a spot where you can mix out into a different song because it's a great tune. It has a lot of people know it. It has that recognition. It's just that it might not be a song that you'd be playing. You might see a point in the song 3 minutes in, people start to have that bored look in their eyes and such. Continuing on, Uptown Funk. I think this is one of those songs you can pretty much play most all of it because it seems to still go well. This was generally, when it first came out, was kind of a latter part of the night because it was kind of wanting to appeal to that crowd, at least here in the upper Midwest. Now this is a song that I have moved up into the early part of the night because I want to hit in that first hour. I want to hit a lot of the kind of big bangers, for lack of a better way to describe it. And that's where I have moved this to. And, people have done different things with it. It's one of the few songs that you can play basically the whole thing and people are pretty good with it. They're not drifting away as the song goes on. So that's something to look at. Number 3 is Sweet Caroline from Neil Diamond. This is a sing-along song. So this isn't something that will work all the time everywhere. It works better at specific times. Most of the time, this is probably something that would work better a little bit later in the night because if you play it early, yes, they're going to do the dun, dun, dun around the room, but it might be more effective to get the result of having a real party when you have a dance floor and you've just done something where you've been able to come off something and then they're like, oh, they're going to sing along too. And they're going to be doing that. Everyone, grabbing each other and swinging and holding their drink. Obviously, this upcoming year if there's COVID issues, this could be a problem. But in a regular year, a regular situation, when we eventually get to that, this is a song that can set up to become that party song that people will talk about how much fun they had at the end. So where you put it can be a variety of different spots, but this is a song that I would recommend probably looking at towards the latter part of the night as you're going along. Don't Stop Believin' from Journey is it isn't a slow song, but it's not a super fast song. It does its thing, and it's a sing along. This is one that I would put, depending upon where you would have it. It might be that you've gone and you've danced for a good hour and a half, and now it's time to say, hey, we're going to change it up with a sing along type thing, and everybody knows the song. However you would set it, it's going to be somewhere in that middle to end. Again, coming off an upbeat set is a spot where you can use it then as a sing along to change gears. It's not something that you're going to expect people to slow dance to. They've seen it at baseball games or different stadium events. It's that sing along. Usher's is still, for myself, is still more towards the latter part of the night. It isn't one I would bring up into the early part of the night, and part of that is because of some of the lyrics. It's just not the kind of thing I would want to have early in the night. So if you guys are with us, joining us in the chat room just before the last dance, you can jump out here if you want to be part of the conversation. DJNTV.com/chill. We are live doing it from the chill room right now. And of course, if this is a Monday night, then we're not live anymore there. Anyway, Usher towards the latter part of the night. I don't know if I'd use it as one of my last songs. Maybe that some people still do. It's generally in that last hour is where I would put that and use it to set something up. Shut Up and Dance from Walk the Moon. I'm not even sure what number that one is. Coming in at 6 is one of those songs that I have moved up to the early part of the night because I have had a lot of younger 3rd, 4th, 5th grade type kids asking for this song because this is my favorite song, and that might be a spot to put it. If it goes later in the night, this would be one. I don't know if I would play the whole song because it might be something I would quick mix in, get them in there singing, they can do that a little bit, and then get back out of the song. So depending upon where you put it, you might handle it different ways from the beginning of the early in the night to the end of the night. And that happens with a lot of songs that you may find that the results are different. I can play a sing-along early in the night, but I may get people singing in their chairs, which is okay at times. But if I want them on the dance floor singing and going crazy, I need to do it at a different time. Cupid Shuffle at number 8 is a crowd line dance type song. They generally can be put anywhere, but many people like to use those line dance songs earlier in the evening to break the dance floor, to get people out on the dance floor, whether that's the Cupid Shuffle or the Cha-Cha Slide, which are both 8 and 9 right there. Thank you, Robin, for putting the chill room on Facebook there for us. So those can be put in a variety of different spots, depending what you're wanting to use it for. Are you wanting it to use it that the people of, the guys and the gals were dancing and doing their thing, and now the guys left, but the ladies want to dance, and you're wanting to go that route? It might be that you're wanting to switch gears and pull a younger group out and bringing in the either Cupid Shuffle, or you want to bring in something else that they may get into. So number 10, Friends in Low Places. I know it's requested highly. This is a song I haven't played in years. It's kind of a little bit, it's a sing-along. It's a little bit slower. Some people use this towards the end of the night, and I think that's why it makes the chart as high as it is. This is a song I don't know, unless it was requested, I wouldn't play. Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks. I love Garth Brooks. I love the song. If I were going to choose a Garth Brooks song to play, it would be something else other than this. So if you've got the sing-along crowd and you've got the people who want to do that and they want to send something out to their wedding party, that's generally, I think, why you see it. Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling at number 11. This is a song that came out and it was like, oh boy, everyone's like, they start out, and this song loses people for me. I've not had a time where I've had the dance floor stay full the whole time. You get to a point where they just start to get, okay, we got a little bit bored of this, and they start to leave. So my recommendation is to find a song that goes with this and kind of set it up so you play that beginning, play the verse, chorus, verse type of thing, and then get out of it before you start to lose that crowd. And if it's working, you don't get out of it. But this is a song that can be good earlier in the night because of the high recognition, and a lot of the kids know it from the movie Trolls. But I would play on an escape of that song. ABBA Dancing Queen is something I think would probably be in the kind of the middle of the night time frame. It could be early if you wanted to in that first hour. But generally, I think there's better disco things to play in that first hour, but it might be different. It might be that this is your favorite disco song. If it is, and you're like, oh my God, I'm on fire for ABBA, the crowd's going to read that. So it might be your first disco song, because you're going to have that energy and bring that energy, which they're going to then pick up on and reflect back. Dancing Queen goes over really quite well in a lot of different spots. So if this is your favorite disco song, put it early. If not, it's going to probably be somewhere in the middle of the night. I don't think I'd put it at the end of the night or the latter part of the night unless I was doing a lot of stuff disco-wise. I think it's got earlier in the night for that one. Wobble, VIC with Wobble at number 13. Depending upon the audience, this I think is kind of made for the group that's in that early 20s that did that thing for the last number of years at high school dances. For the right audience, it's a great song, and it might even go up and be a crowd participation above Cupid Shuffle. This one, though, would probably be later in the night. I would maybe do the Cupid Shuffle or Cha-Cha Slide earlier in the night while I have more of a diverse age group. And then when I get into more of the younger crowd, I would probably then look at doing Wobble. The thing is with that, I wouldn't go too late because if there's a lot of alcohol being consumed, you do this in that last hour, they might be too intoxicated to do it, which happens quite a side. Killer's Mr. Brightside, I've seen it on the charts, and truthfully, this one's a head scratcher for me of how it's used or how people do this. It's never gone over for me. So Mr. Brightside's got to be used for something somewhere, and I don't know where. I can't help you with that particular one. Going to a classic 80s hairband type with Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. This one, I wouldn't have this in the first hour. This would be kind of a middle to later. This is one that sometimes, if you're depending upon the crowd, you may start to lose people with. Sometimes they'll be like right there for the beginning, all the way strong through the end, and it might be one that they start to kind of get, unless it's the first song in that set, they may start to kind of drift towards the end. So keeping that in mind and being prepared if that's indeed the case. Our first slow song shows up at number 16 here with Perfect from Ed Sheeran. This would probably be, if it wasn't one of their spotlight dances, this would be one of the early ones I would do if I wanted to have a newer type first song. If it's going to be, if I want to do, if I have an older crowd, I might go with a little older first slow dance song and then come back with that in the middle. But it can literally be a slow song, beginning, middle, or end. I got a feeling at 17 from Black Eyed Peas, it was one of those songs that was, when it came out, it was big, and it then kind of progressed into being used for entrances. So a lot of people were using it for their wedding party entrances. It can work for the dance sequence, but this is one I think I would probably trim just to make it only, get into it, play, out. I don't think this is when I would play the whole thing anymore. 19 Spice Girls Wannabe is kind of one of these hidden little gems where there's a few songs that seem to just kind of have creeped up in the last 5 years, and I think Wannabe is one of those that has returned because of the age of a lot of the wedding folks. I would definitely take a look at that, and that could be played not in the first half hour, but maybe it's in maybe the second hour, somewhere in there as a kind of a transition. You've got 80s with Footloose coming in. That would be an earlier in the night one. Marry You from Bruno Mars is probably there because of introductions or you being used in recessionals. Hey Ya from Outkast, I think is being used in a couple of different areas. I don't know how well it's going over on the dance floor anymore. It's possible that it's still being there. But after they get done shaking it like a Polaroid picture, then they kind of lose interest. So that could be it. 23 Flow Rida with Low is one I think that still can command and do some things. I've had it where people have come up and they were like, hey, we want to get things going and let's play that right away. And I've had it where it's been one of the anchor songs in that last hour. I don't know if it can be played in a wrong spot unless the people aren't ready to go. Say if they're just getting warmed up. Otherwise, I think Flow Rida Low has enough of a diverse appeal that it can be played almost anywhere. But I personally would utilize it in the last half of the dance. A nice slow song at 24, Elvis Presley, Can't Help Falling in Love. That would probably be early in the night because you can have that diverse crowd with that. 25, Bruno Mars, 24K Magic. If you're looking for, if the crowd isn't quite on a dance floor, but you want to jump into something newer, this could be something earlier in the night. Later in the night, I don't know if that would be, if I had my choice between Uptown Funk and 24K, I might do, one early and one later. Let's go that route. Let's see, Brown Eyed Girl, 26 from Van Morrison is kind of a staple that can be played generally earlier in the night, but it could also be dropped in that last, as a kind of a surprise song in that last half hour where all of a sudden you've been doing something and then boom, that comes in as that changing gear type of a feel also. But generally that would be probably that first half of the night. Let's see. Chris Stapleton's Tennessee Whiskey is a slower type song, and it's kind of a sing-along type of a song. If you haven't played it, listen to it a little bit, and with the right crowd dropped in the right spot, it's really kind of a cool song. It's not going to be something that will work everywhere. AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long seems to still be the song that people are requesting in that last half hour of the night, at least for us. Get Low from Little John. I've got multiple versions. There's some versions I do not play at weddings. The one version I do, which is a remix type version that has everything cleaned up. For me, that doesn't get played until the last probably third of the night or in that last hour, if it's played at all. Old Town Road. I would really wonder if that would even fly much, unless it was something that the wedding party requested. That one would be when I would be kind of wondering if it's something I would even jump into with this year's weddings. But if the bride and groom requested it, it would probably be one of those that I might even work early when I'm not when the dance floor is kind of figuring itself out. It might be something that's dropped in there, or it would be at the very, very end. Once the dance floor has established itself, and then you can start throwing in those gear changes. Miley Cyrus Party in the USA seems to be something that could be played kind of in that Shut Up and Dance early time frame with some success. Beyonce Crazy in Love. I've never had much luck with Beyonce music at my events for whatever reason. Crazy in Love is an upbeat song, and it's used in a couple of different spots. I think I've seen it's been used as a recessional song at one wedding I did. Yeah, we'll move on. B-52's Love Shack, another song from the late 80s and such that it's late 80s or somewhere in that time frame. Love Shack's got a great, it's a transitional song. You can go from 80s to 90s or 80s to even more dance things with Love Shack. It has a great crowd appeal. That would be middle of the night. 34, Thinking Out Loud, another slow song, great slow song there from Ed Sheeran. Despacito coming in at 35. I think depending upon your geographic region, it could work. In many, it's not going to work. It seems to have kind of fallen off the radar in the upper Midwest from some things. 36 Lizzo, Truth Hurts, was a sing-along type song that was kind of, when I had a wedding party, the bridesmaids out there, that seemed to be an appealing song, and I think that's where it's getting where it's continuing to have its legs for a wedding. And it might be a middle of the night. It might be more of an end of the night once they've all, they've shaken hands with everybody, and now the wedding party, the gals from the wedding party are kind of taking over the dance floor. The Way You Look Tonight from Frank Sinatra, an older song. It's kind of a two-step-ish type song, which is not that, but it's an older song that has an appeal to the 70-plus crowd right now. That would probably be an early of the night type of song, or maybe even the latter part of Cocktail. I think that reason why that one still is, it's a really kind of a neat song from the perspective of a classic, and it's something that I think people see it and they're like, oh yeah, this one's for grandma. I think that's why it's there. Beatles, Twist and Shout, upbeat, oldies, first, that would probably be that first half hour. Dexy's Midnight Runner with Come On Eileen coming in at number 39 is 80s tune, middle of the night. You're doing that 80s set that's going on. If it's not there, it would probably be in that last 80s set at the end of the night when you've again taken the dance floor, has done its thing, everyone's had a great time, and you get to that point where people will be just like they're ready to have fun with anything, whatever curveball you throw. Cardi B and Bad Bunny with I Like It. I don't know how much Cardi B is going to be in the upper Midwest at the rural part of the state. Cardi B stuff is like they just not so much. This particular track is actually a good track, and it's got a decent, but that's one of those songs I would be a little cautious with, as I would something from Michael Jackson or some of the other artists that you just don't know how they're going to be received by the crowd. If the bride and groom ask for it, it's maybe a different story. Country song, upbeat, Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Early night goes wonderfully because people get that, and it pulls people on the dance floor very well, at least up here. Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. Seriously, I don't think I've ever played it. I mean, I have played it, but I don't think I've ever played it at a wedding dance. John Legend at 44, slow song, All of Me, nice tune there. Beautiful Crazy, Luke Combs, a country song. It's a little bit kind of a down tempo, just kind of a neat song. Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back would be kind of a latter part of the night. This is one, if you've got people who want that song, they're going to be there for the whole thing, all the way through to the very, the whip crack at the very end. Shake It Off, Taylor Swift, early night type of song. If you've got, if the newer, earlier upbeat stuff is going over because it's very upbeat. Otherwise, it would probably be in that middle of the night coming out of an 80s set. Party Rock Anthem, probably even be in that last part because that's getting that 130 beat per minute range. Probably put it towards that end as you're wanting to all of a sudden go really high and then do that 180 change. The Get Up from Blanca Brown, I'm guessing it's going to die. I think it's going to. There might be a little of that, but I don't think it's. I think it's on its way out. Wagon Wheel. There's two versions of Wagon Wheel. Darius Rucker was the one. I don't even know if they're both on here. This is the original, I believe. Most of the people who've requested it with me wanted the Darius version. Hot in Here from Nelly. I don't understand this one. I mean, it had its time. And it was there, and people did, but then it drifted away, and now it's back again. And I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, it's an okay song. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's one of those songs that probably gets played the most towards the end of the party when it's hot in here and they could take off all their clothes. Toto Africa, that would be kind of a cocktail thing, unless it was something that they really, really wanted to sing along to. It's become kind of that little boppy sing along type of a thing. Maroon 5 Sugar would be some. Maroon 5 just not a dance floor filler as far as so it's got to be put somewhere. And I don't play much Maroon 5 at events if I want people to dance. Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me, kind of another 80s band. Great tune. Even though that you've got people who like hair bands, sometimes it can work really well and sometimes it cannot. It doesn't work very well. It's hit or miss with that. It's more hit than miss. Let me put it that way. But it's not going to be something I would play in the first hour. It'd probably be towards the latter half of the dance. Dancing in the Moonlight from Top Loader. This came out of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is one of the first movie songs from that we're seeing on the list. It's a great song. Earlier in the night I would probably play that. Actually, I do play this during the cocktail. This is one of my cocktail songs. Chris Brown Forever was in there because of wedding party introductions. And such because of that thing. Bye 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 from NSYNC. If you got the right crowd that was in that junior high age during those years, that was a great song for them, and that would be the kind of middle of the night. We Are Family, common wedding song where they're wanting to play it sometimes after the garter, sometimes after the bouquet, but sometimes in there. Thomas Rhett, Die a Happy Man, wedding that the groom is married and he's going to Pitbull Timber with Kesha. It's just a really upbeat driving song in that 130 beat per minute. I think 125, 130 beats. Has an appeal because it has a little bit of a country feel to it, and yet it has the dance feel. That one probably would be in that middle to latter part of the night. Rihanna's We Found Love, upbeat. Maybe that last hour of the night. It wouldn't be something I would do early in the night. Bohemian Rhapsody, a sing-along type song that could be put in wherever, but I would suggest it towards the latter part of the night because after they've had a few drinks and then they can start singing and dancing and you've already established the dance floor, people are just going to stay out there so they can sing along on your dance floor. If you play it too early, they'll sing along at their chairs. Pharrell Williams, Happy. A lot of people open their dance floor with this one because it's upbeat. It's kind of, it can't be fun and it's going to have an appeal. I don't use it there. I drop it latter part if I even drop it in at all. I just don't. Not a big one of using that too often. If you're in the 80s, at 64, Daryl Hall and John Oates with "You Make My Dreams Come True." Great little 80s tune to drop in there. Animal House, Shout. That's probably an earlier song if you want to try to do something with your oldie set. Otherwise, it's a late in the night song after you've established the dance floor in that last hour, and you want to have a change up that way. Let's see, Backstreet Boys, another 90s. We're going to just start going and hitting a few of the bigger ones as we go here because we've got about 20 minutes left. I don't want to go much beyond that. 67, the Rednecks, Cotton Eye Joe. There's many line dances that people do this. And it's surprising how many different versions there are, at least in the upper Midwest. So when people come up and are asking for that or Boot Scoot and Boogie, it's because they're doing any number of line dances to it. So it's an upbeat. It's got that 130 beat per minute. So you can do some different things into it and out of it, but it still goes over well. And that can go in the end of that first hour and really any time after that. Beyonce Single Ladies is in there because of the bouquet toss. Mambo number 5 is in, I think, also from a different either bouquet toss or something to that effect. Maybe even for the introductions. Stevie Wonder, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. Cocktail. House of Pain, Jump Around is great for a little bit. Play That Funky Music, Disco. Turn Down for What is one of those songs you just take a little bit of it and then you get out of it. Sweet Home Alabama is kind of that southern rock feel, more by specific request. I'm going to jump down. 76 Benny King, Stand By Me. Great, kind of a little bit older song. It would be one I'd probably put in the middle of the night if I wanted to jump from like an 80s or 90s or maybe even an early 2000s. And it's like, I want to just kind of reset for some of the people a little bit older guests. It's a great tune for that. And 80s and Celebration. 78 Celebration from Kool and the Gang is one, probably that. And can't think of the other song that basically was the most common songs that DJs start the night out with. That one and Brick House were the two songs that DJs open their dance floor with. YMCA, Village People, another big crowd favorite, generally earlier in the night because people of all ages can do that, but you kind of need to set it up. I want to jump down to... So at 85, we've got Billie Jean from Michael Jackson. Now, we might be past that point where people aren't going to be offended at Michael Jackson's music, or we might still be in that realm. I'm not sure, and that's going to be kind of a play it by ear type of thing. It's a great tune. Obviously, there's a message behind it, and some people may be like, offended by the message, whatever. But it's a good song. It's got a great beat to it, and people dance, and they do their little thing. But it's also one of those songs that maybe you end up having to cut because people will get bored of it. They've done their Michael Jackson moves, and then they get out of it. But play it. Can be a little cautious with that. 88 Fireball is one from Pitbull. Upbeat. It's that driving... there's no Daft Punk, I don't think, on this list. It's a good song. It was one that I didn't start playing until about 2 years ago. It's been around for a while. I just didn't do it, and it's like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. 90, At Last from Etta James, classic slow song. That would be something you could play anywhere if you want to appeal to the variety early in the night. It could be used there. I would recommend it, though, towards the end, because when you've got that big string introduction and you've just come out and people are dancing, they're sweaty, and all of a sudden you hear that and then that last, and you get the people who are out there half intoxicated, swaying and falling on each other. That one actually I'd probably put in the beginning of that last hour or at the end of the second. Wonderful Tonight at 92, another great slow song. 94, 1,000 Years. 95, Macarena is actually one that's been making kind of a comeback on the request forms this past summer. I think it was on every request form that I had for 2020, that most of those have been moved to different dates, what have you. But it's making a comeback. Train's Marry Me, I think, is because of introductions. 100, Jesse's Girl. 80s tune, a little bit slower intro coming out of a slow song. Kanye West, Gold Digger. I would probably stay away from that one because of the message of the song that she's a gold digger. That could be construed as a little bit offensive at a wedding. Whatever works, just, be careful. Jumping down to 103, Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice. Generally, kind of the middle of the night would be that spot. I wouldn't put that in that first hour. Great tune. It might be one that you look at that and say, okay, I want to get out of it here. That's certainly something you could do. Vanilla Ice, great tune, and the people love it, but it does get a little bit long. 104, Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines is another one that could be a little bit risque to play, not because of the messages completely, but because there was that thing with Robin, and then there was that message, and then there was so it could be. It's a great tune. It's got for the summer of whatever that summer was. It came out. That came out in Get Lucky. Those were they were huge at DJ Expo, but I don't know if it's something that a person really would want to have to deal with. 106 Piano Man, end of the night song. I think that's where it's used the most. That last song, if you're from the upper Midwest, there's this college called St. John's that's just down the road from me. Their thing is they make a circle, everybody drops their pants down to their ankles, and they sing the song, sing along to the song. Yeah, it's the end of the night. Let's see, jumping down 110, Old Time Rock and Roll, great tune. Either probably probably almost my second set of oldies or second set when I'm trying to appeal to the above 50 crowd. That would be probably the above 60 crowd would be a possibility with that. Let's see. At 115, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Aerosmith is one of those songs that goes really well towards the end because of its message, how it is, and its big crescendo, and it's the big music, and it's building to this point. And yeah, it's really, really kind of a neat wrapping up the night song for a last slow song. As is the 118, I've Had a Time of My Life, which is generally where it's used. We've got another Frank Sinatra coming in here at Fly Me to the Moon at 121. Yeah, I've never played that one. Tones and Iowa Dance Monkey at 124. Don't know what kind of response that would get anymore. 125 Staying Alive, Bee Gees is actually one of my go-to, probably my first disco song, depending upon how I'm setting the disco up. I used to be that those songs would be mid to latter part of the night, but now when people want to get up and get going and want to just do that, and I think this summer that's going to be the case, is that they're ready to go. They haven't been on a dance floor in so long in some communities that you're going to want to throw those big bangers out because they're going to want to get out there and be part of the fun that they haven't had in a long time. Jumping down to 129, Big and Rich, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, is that kind of a crossover country song that has a beat and has this and that, and yet it's a country song. Goes over still very, very well. And that could be placed in that early part of the night, or it could be placed in the middle part of the night. I mean, really anywhere to a point. It's still a really good song. 131, Commodore's Brick House. There's the other song that is one of the most played opening dance floor songs for mobile DJs. 134, Wonderful World is there. 139, Amazed from Lone Star. There's a couple of different. There's Amazed and there's Amazed by You that I've had people request one and they bent the other one. Two different songs, two different artists. Let's see. So 144 with The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, which has been on the charts for like 7 years, and it came back and it was in the top 10 this past week again. That'll be an interesting song of where that fits in because it's a good song, no question about it. It just had Super Bowl airplay. It was like almost fully played there at the Super Bowl, if not fully played. But it's not a great dance song. It's a really good song, and it's been on the charts and it's very popular. It'll be interesting to see where Blinding Lights comes in. If a person needs to take Blinding Lights and put it into a really cool set, and use that as a drop-in, verse, chorus, verse, out, that'll be an interesting one to play with. And that's something actually we've been talking about how we're going to utilize that. Shape of You from Ed Sheeran, that's a upbeat one. I'm not going to do that. We have another Thriller from Michael Jackson, which is requested because people want to go and they want to walk around like this for, during this song. And after they've done that twice, they're like bored. So we move on. Electric Boogie there. There's the older version of the Cha-Cha Slide is way down the list. It still can go over at some events. It's just that people don't know how to do it as much as they used to. I'm trying to see if there's any Tayo Cruz at 156 with Dynamite. Dynamite still goes over, but it's one of those songs that you can use a little bit of it and you got to get out of it. It can be dropped in that last hour, and with the wave my hands up in the air sometimes, and people will sing and they'll do that and they'll do that, and then when it gets into the actual verse, you lose people. But then you get into the chorus and they're back, and you get into a verse, and you lose. So it's like chorus, verse, chorus, out would be my recommendation on that one. Sam Hunt's Body Like a Back Road country song. It's kind of a sing-along type of a thing. Oh, there's a Daft Punk in there. Get Lucky at 158. So somebody asked about Daft Punk. It's right there. I want to just kind of see if there's anything. There's a lot of songs in there, like 165 Rick Astley is probably in there as a Rick Roll type of a thing where people were like, oh, this is going to be funny. We're going to Rick Roll our crowd. There's songs that are in these, and this is a common thing enough where it would make the chart. Are they going to dance to it? Maybe, maybe not so much. It's hard to say. But it's sometimes weird things make the list like that. Like Jimmy Eat World, The Middle at 169. No. Wake Me Up Before You Go. Aretha Franklin's Respect is an older tune, good tune with that. Four Seasons is another one at December 1963. Oh, What a Night. That's another one that some people use to open the dance floor because it's got that appeal. It's got the old, it's got an upbeat, it's got more of a modern beat behind it. So it's got a variety of appeal there. I want to get it down to, let's see where we are. I'm down in the 180s. Flow Ride Is My House. This is an interesting one because it is a little bit slower than Low, and yet it's got a really great sing-along appeal. And a lot of people have, I've had almost better response and sometimes with that song than I have with Low, which is odd because Low has more crowd recognition. But for engaging and singing along, I guess that's probably what I mean by yeah. So My House from Flo Rida has, but that's generally kind of that latter part of the night when I want to take it from a high, I can bring it down to a little bit so then they can catch their breath and then go back into something again. Blue Suede Hooked on a Feeling is another from the Guardians of the Galaxy coming in at 188. And there at 194, Boot Scootin' Boogie coming in as another line dance song, so the people are requesting it for that. Stevie Wonder's Superstition at 198. Kind of an early part of the night. I've used that one actually on a few cases where it's like, okay, I don't know if the people are ready to dance yet, but let's put this one in as they're, kind of milling around, and let's see if we can get some toes dancing and get a little bebop going. And there have been times where I've put that in ahead of when they were going to dance. The next thing I know that there's people headed towards the dance floor. So, and then we finish it off with Flow Rida's Club Can't Handle Me. So this is out at djeventplanner.com/most requested HTM. You guys can go out there and take a look at this. But then they break it down into the top 30 songs from each decade, which is kind of a cool thing. So you can look and see that, Uptown Funk is the biggest thing from the 2010s to 2020. And kind of go down there. And they've got all sorts of decades and special songs and things that you guys can check out on that list. So, see, I've not had Rick. I'm going to go to the chat room now, and I'm going to make some, because this video is going to be up for a long time. So I want to make sure I'm going through. But yeah, Rick Astley just has not done well, and maybe it's just me. Yeah, Dark Side. That's why I like to use Superstition early. I wouldn't, when the dance floor open, I wouldn't. It was basically okay. So let's say I'm supposed to start at 8:00, and I want to start to build a little energy before 8:00. That's when I would put that in there, maybe 10 minutes to or something to that, about 1:45, just to get people kind of get them thinking about the dance floor. And sometimes it goes. John, I'm not sure which one you mentioned with "Take on Me" with that, which was also on our list. What song? A song that has people dropping their pants was Piano Man, Billy Joel's Piano Man. St. John's University, just down the road from me here. That's a big thing that they started doing in the bar a gazillion years ago. And the kids do this every wedding that there's a St. John's student at or multiple students at, alumni. You will see the guys out there on it and make a circle, pants down to their ankles. Yeah, Howie mentions that half of that list can be used up during the dinner time, and that's a really, really big part of it, I think. And it's not that I don't think people are requesting songs for the dinner. I think we have at our events, and this is kind of a comment on any wedding request list. Unless you want basically the 10 songs, okay, these 10 must plays, and then that's it. People make a list of 40 or 50 songs, and they start thinking, okay, I need my must plays. These are the ones that me and my friends really, really, really like. Then they're like, well, I need to pick a song for Grandpa, and I need to pick a song for Uncle Fred, and that kind of stuff, where they're starting to go and try to do part of our job. And I don't want to say that in a negative way, but they're wanting to make sure that their requests are encompassing of the guests. That's why you'll see some things in there. Frank Sinatra will be like, oh yeah, they see that on the list, and it's like, that's a good song. I've heard of that song. That would be great for my grandma and grandpa because they're older like that. That's why your mama always says to wear clean underwear. Somebody may play Piano Man. Oh, funny. I'm just going to continue up here a little bit. Yeah, Daft Punk, it took a while. Yeah, I think that's how he made the comment that hitting him hard and hitting him early this summer. I think that's going to be a big thing, just because I think you're going to have families and such. You know, the children or the older, they haven't been to a wedding in really 2 years, so they're going to be interested in going out and enjoying that. And to some extent, some of the songs that you only play at weddings, they haven't heard really for 2 years. So they're going to be like, hey, they'll be out there and ready to party and have some fun. And then as the night progresses, then we'll be doing, you know, our progressively probably younger music as we go through the evening. But I think we're going to definitely have an audience slightly different. And I don't say it's because they're going to be spread out. I think it's just they're going to be hungry for that type of experience, the dance floor type experience, and to be able to go out there and enjoy the songs, but enjoy them with other people. Because see, they can play any of these songs in their kitchen and dance to it with their kids type of thing. But to go out there and then to be able to engage and to be able to sing along to you know, Don't Stop Believing with people their own age. You know, right now, if they sing along, they're probably singing along to their kids or their pets or whatever. But to be able to do these things and engage other adults, I think that's going to be a big thing, and why this summer we're going to have some success with songs that are more engaging of the audience rather than just songs that they're going to be a bystander, that they're going to want to engage the song and sing along to the song. Maybe it's one of those things that you're going to prompt them, you know, say, all right, everyone do it, bump, 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 you know, that kind of a thing. That could become a big part of our summer of entertainment. Kenya Fireball was definitely on that list, was not on my radar until just a couple of years ago. And I don't know why. Somebody would say that it's because I'm out in the sticks. I wouldn't know. So the biggest negative thing about the whole list that as we go through is that there's certainly not enough Huey Lewis on this list. And I really am going to try to work to see if we can change that for 2022, even the 2021 list. But that's something we'll work on some other day. So yeah. Dark Side DJs mentions that they're wanting it to be a bash with lots of sing-alongs, lots of crowd engagement with that. So all right. Thank you guys for being with tonight and hanging out. Some of you are in the chill room here. We're going to be wrapping up this video. Chill room will still be open and such. And then Dan and MJ and I are going to be doing our show. It'll be streamed on YouTube and our other spots and such, but it won't be in the chill room. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, so in about 2 hours 20, well, an hour and 20 minutes from now, then Howie's going to be in the room. Big Daddy's going to be joining Howie tonight. They're going to kind of talk about the early days of Big Daddy when he was medium daddy. Is that the thing? Is that weird? But anyway, they're going to talk about Sean McKee's early years and how he got into the entertainment industry and some of those stories. And there's some great stories. I've heard some of those myself in our conversation, so I'm really kind of excited to listen to that. And you can go out and be part of that crowd tonight and listen and watch what they're doing at DJNTV.com/chill. Then that recording will be then put up on probably, I'm going to try to see if I can get it up Thursday. That's my intent. And in the last 2 weeks, I've missed it both times. But we're going to try to make it so that Thursday, then the video will be on YouTube so you guys can catch the show if you can't make it to the live recording later tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. So once again, thank you much for being on or being with us tonight. And we'll be back at the top of the hour with MJ, Dan, and I talking about some of the names of some of the people who had been part of this progression of the DJ industry. We'll catch you then.